Hey there, I'm practicing. Do you want to hear a cool story? For the last month, I've had a very specific task in the practice room, which is to learn a bunch of horn lines and memorize them. The music is from a band called the California Honey Drops. If you haven't heard of this band, go check them out right now as soon as you finish watching this video. Great band, you're gonna love them, I promise. This is a band that I actually discovered through Spotify suggested listening. You know, you'll be listening to Spotify and then it'll tell you, hey, this is some other music you might like, check it out. So this story begins with an algorithm. You may be watching this very video because of another algorithm on YouTube which decided that it's something you might like based on the other things you've been watching on YouTube. I have to say, sometimes the algorithms are pretty good at matchmaking, at least in this case. When I first started listening to this band, the California Honey Drops, it was as though I was listening to a band that had all of the same musical influences as I have. All the music that I grew up listening to and that I loved was coming through in their music. So it was like having a band that was custom made for your musical preferences. It was kind of weird yet awesome at the same time. I discovered this band at a time when I was doing a lot of traveling for gigs on planes, so I was able to listen to them in long sessions and kind of really consume all of their music. So the California Honey Drops quickly became one of my favorite bands, and I went to see them live, and their live show was incredible. I met the guys, they're super nice guys, and that was it. You know, I listened to them when they came out with new albums. I checked it out. You may have seen I did an interview with the saxophone player. It was one of my early videos on the channel. I will link it up in the description if you're curious. But I kind of stayed in touch with the guys. Anyway, fast forward to today. Why am I practicing all of their music? Well, learning the music you like to listen to and transcribing it and getting it under your fingers so you can play it is a great way to improve your musicianship, and I encourage you to do that if you're not doing it already. But that's not really the reason I'm learning the tunes. The reason I'm learning all these songs is because the coolest thing happened. I got an email one day. I get a lot of email every day, but a couple weeks back I got an email, and it was the saxophone player Johnny from the California Honey Drops letting me know that they wanted me to play with them at an upcoming gig because the guy who normally is the second saxophone player couldn't make it. And this gig is next week. It's at the North Sea Jazz Festival in Rotterdam. So I'm kind of cramming to learn as much of their music as possible. And I wanted to kind of share the process with you because it might be something that you need to do one day, learn a bunch of horn lines to be able to play on a performance without a lot of preparation time or rehearsal. So I might seem kind of calm and blasé about the whole thing right now, but at the time when I got asked to do the gig, I was really excited. I mean, imagine one of your favorite bands asks you to play with them at a major festival out of the blue, completely unexpected. I've never played with these guys before, and I've only kind of met them and interacted with them on a very limited basis. So it was completely unexpected. So mainly I just wanted to share my very happy news with you, but I also thought I could show you my process for learning all these tunes, memorizing them, and preparing for this kind of performance situation. So I got to learn a bunch of music. I got to play as much of it by ear and from memory as possible, and there's no rehearsal. Oh, and it's going to be for thousands of people on a big stage at a major jazz festival. No pressure. So story time over. Let's get down to how I'm actually going to manage to do this. So the first step is going to be to make a list. Get your list together, put everything in order, and that's your starting point. Now, in my case here, there's no set list. These guys play kind of free. They call tunes on the fly. So I'm stuck kind of guessing which tunes to learn, and I'm trying to learn the ones that they play the most during their live shows. Hopefully you won't be in that same situation. So now we got our list. As you work on the tunes, take notes. So your notes can be, something about the form. You could talk about things like, the horns come in right at the beginning, or there's an extra section after the solos that you need to look out for, or maybe something about the end. The end has a special rhythm. Take some little notes, little reminders. You could even have a cheat sheet in front of you with all of these reminders. That'll help you get through these tunes. If you know the horn lines, maybe you just need to know the first note of a song or the key of a song, and that will trigger, now I know where to start. At first, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna memorize like 30 songs, no problem. And then be able to play any one of them from memory on stage under a high pressure situation. And then I said, you know what? That's not realistic. I'm pretty good at memorizing things, but we have limits. So I am making charts. Now I'm making these charts not because I plan on reading them during the gig. Although if my mind draws a complete blank, I will read the charts because it's more important to get the right notes than to be cool like I don't read sheet music. But making the charts is kind of also reinforcing in my brain how the music goes. And it's kind of like drawing a picture of something. It's giving you a visual of that music. And even if you're not going to use it while playing it, your brain can kind of recall that image, and that'll help you execute the notes that you need to play. If you're going to be learning any music by ear, you're going to need recording. So in my situation, the band has provided me with tons of recordings of their live performances. So I'm listening to their latest concerts and playing along with them and picking out the horn lines by ear that way. When a lot of bands, when they record, the studio version is not the same thing as what they play on stage in live version. So I'm lucky to be able to hear exactly how they're performing these things live.
Everybody say yeah! Say yeah!
And then the thing that helps me the most in this process is this app, this AnyTune Pro app. And it allows me, you can see here, I've got the music here, and it allows me to loop sections of the song. And I can just play it over and over again from memory, and that's kind of like burning it into my brain so it'll be there when the time comes. And this app is great for transcribing anything, if it's solo or horn lines or just the melody to a song, or even if it's just for practicing along with a tune that you want to improvise a solo over. You can take that song, put it into the app, and loop that solo section, let's say, and practice playing your solo in that spot. So I use this app to practice all of those things. And what's really cool about it, I've got these full sets of music that the band has played, and it saves your loops. So I've got tons of loops. I've looped every section where there's a horn line, and I can just jump back in and go back to those loops and practice them as much as I want. Now, the last step is the performance that's going to happen this weekend at the North Sea Jazz Festival in Rotterdam. The California Honey Drops are playing Saturday and Sunday. So if you happen to have a ticket and you're going to be there, go check out the band. It's a lot of fun to see these guys live. Now, when it comes time to perform the music live in front of a large audience at a major jazz festival with a band you've never rehearsed with before or played with at all, it's possible that nerves kind of will kick in and your mind might draw a blank. And this could be on any sort of performance. You could just be playing, a song in front of a couple friends and your mind can draw a blank. I've done a lot of performances in my life and in my career, and one thing I've learned is the best way to handle nerves, being nervous, is preparation. The more prepared you are for something, the less nervous you're going to be, the better you're going to play, and the more fun you're going to have in your performance, because you're not going to be worried about getting everything wrong. Playing a lot of wrong notes can definitely be a downer on your performance and how you feel about how you've played. So the best way to avoid that is to prepare and practice. So I've got to get back to learning all this music and practicing. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to click the thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I'll be sharing some behind the scenes backstage footage from the North Sea Jazz Festival and lots of other stuff. If you're not already subscribed, get yourself subscribed. See you again very soon in another BetterSax video.